TCCA, what's going down? We are in session number 6, number 7. Yeah, number 7. Whoa. Um, we are so glad to have y'all here. I am extremely excited to watch this next presentation. My name is Chad Cochran. I am a DLS in Aldine. My co-host is Shamila. I'm going to stop and not add the French. I still said it wrong. God bless America. We will be monitoring the comments. In the comments, you can place your questions. And at the end of the session, we'll set some time aside and ask the best spelled questions. And we'll post the questions on the lower third too. Housekeeping. You will get the super secret password at the end. Please don't post it if you hear it from another session. I heard someone got timeout in one of the other presentations for doing that. So we will post that. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on our presenter. Her name is Tamara Ferguson. And Tamara, welcome to TCCA.
Hi, I'm so glad to be a part of your conference this year. How exciting. I know that things are being very different for us with our new world, and videos are a big part of that new world. So welcome to creating and editing videos, the getting started path. I am Tamara Ferguson, and I am part of the crew from Cypress Fairbanks. And if you have any questions that are past today, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I'll be happy to answer those questions. Or if you want to share ideas, I'd love to be part of that conversation. So without further ado, yes, the process of creating videos can be made easy. It's something that sometimes people feel a little overwhelmed by. And when people attend sessions, it's not uncommon for me to hear from them where they say, do you have something that's easier than beginner? We need like a level 0. Well, I have for you today a level 0. What more can you ask than that? If you are here today and you feel like that, I hope that by the time you're done, you feel like you can push this easy button and say, you know what, I can do this, and I can do this with confidence. If you are not new to video editing, I think you're going to find that there's a few hidden gems that you may not have known about either within PowerPoint or part of your Windows 10 device. So let's get started. If you have questions, I am monitoring the chat. Feel free to post them and I can answer them. I have 2 screens. One is over there with all the questions. So feel free to ask those questions and I'll be happy to answer them as we move through. Now, our topics today include, since it is a beginner level 0, what goes into making effective videos? What are some things to think about? Then I'm going to get into actually creating and editing videos inside of PowerPoint. You can leave videos in PowerPoint and create them in PowerPoint and share your PowerPoints. If you create videos in PowerPoint, you don't have to keep them there either. You can pull them out and separate them and just share the video as is. And lastly, today, I'm going to share with you this nifty little simple tool that is called the video editor that is already part of your Windows 10 device. If you have an Apple's device, so sad. Nope, it's not on there. It's just a Windows thing. Okie dokie. So the very first thing that you need to ask yourself when you're creating video is, why am I creating this video? Who is this for? What is the best format? When you're creating video and you're just like, oh, I need to create a video, and you just pop one out, you're missing the important question is this video going to extend your influence or magnify your influence? If you're just simply replacing yourself, you've just made yourself redundant as an instructional tool in your class, and that's not something you ever want to do. Job security, definitely important this time and age right now, and I think if you use videos in a way that extends and magnifies you as a teacher, I think you will find that your effectiveness in a classroom improves greatly. So some things to think about. I know that right now people are struggling with kids doing remote learning, kids in the classroom. What do we do when we're working with one group or another, or even in the same classroom? What do we do when we're working in small group instruction? How do we make sure our kids are supported out there? Well, that process can be supported with video. So for instance, I have 2 videos. One of them right here is showing creating directions for students for activities. And while other students are doing that, another group of students can, let's put that on mute for a second. Other students can, of course, be listening to another set of videos where they are getting instruction on content. And then you're free to work with kids one-on-one to help them individually, and chaos does not reign in your classroom anymore. That's probably a good thing, right? Okay, this is a video that I kind of got away from Jessica Gates. She's one of our curriculum coaches. She used to teach Algebra 1 just a couple years ago. And I grabbed this video from her when I saw it being created because I loved how she used color to separate information. Color is an important part of videos, just like they are posters on your wall, to highlight important information and to separate content. And let me share with you how she does that.
To find the distance between the 2 points on the graph. So that's these 2 points here. First thing I'm going to do is label the 2 points that are given to me. I'll just in a different color, that way we can see all the things. Okay, so this point will be -5.
Okay, this completely cracked me up. She didn't feel inclined to redo the video because her head was in the way. You know what? Videos do that. It's okay. Everybody knows that you're supporting kids and you're not this YouTube edutainer. Everybody knows that. It's okay that you have videos that are less than perfect. But this is a perfect video for me and what I want kids to be able to see because it covers it very simply, step by step. And I'm just going to zip through the rest of this video without actually listening to it. And you can see she's changing color when she's separating the content, keeping it organized so the kids at a glance can see the information they need. A very powerful video based on that alone. Okay, then I would like you to listen to Kevin. Kevin teaches geometry in one of our Cypress Fairbanks schools. He likes to use assessment as part of his video. You can do it in multiple ways. You don't have to use Edpuzzle, which is the tool of preference for Kevin. There are lots of ways to do that out there, whether it's been built into your LMS, whether you put it in a site, whether you put it in a form where the kids watch the video and answer the question and then go on to the next one. It doesn't matter as long as you're checking for understanding and it gives you data to be able to analyze where your kids are. So take a moment to listen to Kevin and how he uses Edpuzzle.
Hi, my name is Mr. Casilio, and in this video I will show you about Edpuzzle. Here's a video that I already made. Let me edit and show you how it looks like to add a quiz or questions. So over here are questions I've already added in there. I have some multiple choice questions, and I have an open-ended question book. The way Edpuzzle organizes this is, here's my roster. Let me hide that. Here's my roster. And here are all the assignments and the different grades they got. This red timer right here shows me that they turned in late. And then it's hard to see, but down here, here's a red 17. Down here's a yellow bar. The yellow bar shows you how much of the video they watched. So Edpuzzle tracks all of these things. It tracks their answers for multiple choice. It grades the multiple choice. And then it tracks how much of the video they've watched and how long they've watched the video.
Excellent tool, Edpuzzle, for meeting those needs. It's a free tool, and if you haven't explored Edpuzzle, it is worth looking into. So thank you, Kevin, for sharing that with us. So when you're making a video, it's not necessarily what the purpose of that video is and how you want to use it, but there's also the mechanics of creating the video. So let's look at some of those things as well. So I have on the left a video that is just a quick little recording, and the one on the right is actually recording the same thing. One of them I would consider to be a much more effective video, even though they're exactly the same thing. One of them is more distracting and it's just cluttered. But as you can see, it is exactly the same content. When you are creating videos, consider getting rid of the distracting information on the side if you can. And PowerPoint will allow you to do that because PowerPoint will allow you just to record just a section of your screen. Most screen recorders don't do that, but this one will. Another thing to think about, I know that it's tempting when you have these PowerPoints that you have used, and they're a great tool for teaching in class, and you read the content to your kids, but teaching in person doesn't work the same way when students are at home. I want you to think back to presentations that you've gone to, either professional development, where somebody has sat there and read PowerPoint slides to you that you could have read on your own. And think about how frustrating that is for you. And I realize that we have kids that need that accommodation or desire that accommodation. So my challenge to you is this: go ahead and share the PowerPoint presentation to them as is. Instead, give them the option to listen if they want to, instead of just reading it to everybody. Now in PowerPoint, if you click on the insert button, you can click on the drop down arrow of your audio, and you can actually record your audio. So for students that do need that slide read to them, you can record that. And once you click record and then you click OK, it will actually pop. And I've already did this ahead of time because I can't record while I'm talking to you. What it will do is it'll pop that little record slide in there. And that's, of course, the least desirable place for it. So please don't leave it there. You could, if you wanted to, just move it off to the side, teach your kids to click play, and they can listen to it. But I'm going to do one better for you. I'm going to take it off the slide. So when kids get the presentation, it's no longer part of the slide because that just doesn't look nice. Instead, make a button. So let me show you how to make a button. Click on Insert, create a shape. Then you can get all fancy with your buttons if you want to. But for today, we're not going to. I'm just going to create a simple button, and I'm going to double click in the middle, and I'm going to write click to listen. And that's it. Well, actually, it's not quite it. You got to animate it. So I'm going to click on my thing right here, my little icon for listening. And now I'm going to click on animation. And I'm going to click on trigger. And when I click on something else, and right here, the last thing I created is on the bottom of the list. When I click on the rectangle with rounded corners, then it will play. So if I take my mouse right here, let's make sure that it's done that. Okay, presentation mode. Okay, hopefully it doesn't make a liar out of me. Nope, it didn't. Look, there's a little finger right there. I can't do it right now. Well, I might be able to. Let's see if it works.
The Vikings came
Yeah, it did. Yay.
and Denmark.
I don't know if you can hear it. Hopefully you can. Okay, so I'm going to click escape because you're not going to want to listen to me read that either. So when they click on that button, it plays your sound for you, and it just gives it kind of a nice look to it instead of reading it to everybody. So those that don't want it read can just read, and those that need it read to them can click and listen. So again, not everything has to be a video. You can share content just as effectively and not use a video. And that comes from the why video question in the beginning. Is it really the best tool? Okay, moving right along. So we have our Vikings. Where do they come from? If you want to create a video from that, because that's the best format that you want, my recommendation is instead of reading text to them, tell them a story. You have drawing tools right here. So when I click on the down arrow, I have all these drawing tools. If I click on a specific pen, let me go ahead and pin that for a second. There's my little pin because it keeps popping down on me. When I click on my drawing tools and the down arrow, I can change my colors and I can change how thick they are. I can even do more colors if I would like to and get very specific in my colors. I do have the choice of pencils, pens, and highlighters, and so I do also have the same option to change those as well. If I want more pens, I can add more, and I can shuffle them if I know if I want to move them in certain orders, then I can just shuffle them around. But what that allows me to do is to do my recordings where I tell a story. So once I'm ready to tell my story in my screen record, I click on recording, I click on my screen recording, and then it's going to say, what do you want to record? Well, I want to go back to that PowerPoint that I was just in, and I want to record that. And notice I have a red box. I need to select the area that I want to record, and I don't want all the other busy stuff in the background. I want to just record that area. Now, because we are right now in a live presentation, feel free to ask questions, by the way. I haven't seen anything up there. Oh, I lied. How can I use these strategies in Google? Let me answer that in just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to be recording in here, and this gives me this background right here to be able to do that. But I can't do that right now because we're here, but I already pre-recorded it. So let me click my little X, and I have it right here. So this is what recording looks like. So I actually recorded a screen recording, and I used WeVideo to do my screen recording for that. And that kind of answers that question, how can I do this in Google? Well, Google Slides doesn't have its own screen recorder, but there are other tools and extensions out there that you can add to Google. And as you can see, I am actually using WeVideo to do the screen recording of my Microsoft PowerPoint. So hopefully that answers your question for that. So there's lots of extensions out there. There's Screencastify, there's WeVideo. There's lots of them out there. Just look for online screen recorders, and it works in Google and other platforms as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just push play and show you what I'm talking about right here. Or I thought I was pushing play. There it is. Okay. So there's no audio with this because I knew I was going to be able to talk you through it. So I've got my screen recording. I'm talking to students about the story of the Vikings and why they moved around. And I have motion on my screen. So my students are able to follow along with what I'm talking about. And I'm changing pens. You can see up here, I'm changing pens. So I'm separating information with color as I'm talking to my students. You can accompany the video with a handout if you wanted to. And then when you're done, you push stop. And as you can see, the little video pops in there. So I can actually jump to my next slide and show you said video. So this is the actual video that I had screen recorded when I shared it with you. Hold on, my mouse has got to catch up with me. Where's my, oh, I know why. Okay, so what I did was when I clicked on my drawing tool, it still thinks I want the pen. I got to go back to my draw and tell them I need to turn it back into a mouse. That's why nothing was clicking. Took me a moment. So this is the video that I created. I can right click on that video and I can pull it out of PowerPoint and share it just as a separate video. Or I can copy this video, put it on a fresh slide and even in a different PowerPoint and share it as part of a PowerPoint if I want to. So those are my two options when I do screen recording. So one more time, screen recording, you click on recording, you click on screen recording, you select your thing that you want to actually screen record, and then you click record, and then you stop, and then you get this little video that's part of your PowerPoint presentation, or you can pull it out. Okay, let's move on to back into my presentation mode. There we go. Okay, vocabulary development and videos seem to be perfect partners with that. So whether it's English or Spanish or another language, you will want your terms, animate the picture with it. And it's not uncommon to also say the sentence to go with it. So I had a lady who's much better at speaking Spanish than I am do this for us.
Chanclas. No encuentro mis chanclas.
Okay, I assure you, I would not have sounded nearly as good as that. So I screen recorded this while she spoke, but I thought it was important to show you that your videos don't have to be long. This is a snippet, maybe 5-10 seconds at the most. And you can put each one of your little videos as a little snippet, make them an icon where you can record. For instance, I can resize my little video, put it up on the side where I want it, and I can change the formatting of that video so I can click on it. So when I click on my video, I can set it so that it plays in full screen. So then when I put it in presentation mode and I can have multiple videos on my screen.
Las chanclas.
Hold on, let me do this again. So when it's presenting, it goes into full screen. And I think it's because I have it set back on the playback to start automatically. So I want to do it on click. So let me change that. When clicked on. There we go. Let's try that again. Okay, so when I click on my little video, so I want to learn about this vocabulary term, I click on my play, full screen, and then it goes back to my regular size right here when I'm done listening to the video. How cool is that? Okay, in summary, these are the things that you need to think about when you're recording. Obviously at least thinking ahead of time what you're going to say so you're not stumbling all over your words. That would be probably helpful. I don't know very many people that can record first time, be done, and like, woohoo! At least I'm not one of those people. Keep in mind, some of your students are watching videos on little screens, such as phones. So my recommendation is size 24 font or bigger when you're creating these videos. And of course, that forces you to use less words when that happens, because you don't want to just share a PowerPoint with a bunch of words. You want it to be animated. You want it to be interesting. Again, color should be used to separate information information and to point out what's important, just like you would when you're creating a video or a poster. Okay. Now, distractors. If you have the possibility of whatever screen tool, recording tool that you're using to remove objects from the background when you're recording, that's great. Whether or not you're doing it on a sheet of paper and you're recording and you have like a separate camera, or you're doing screen recording, less distractors is better, because otherwise the kids are going to be paying attention to what you don't want them to. And of course, keeping it moving. What I mean by that is have something that supports your content and enhances student interest, such as if you're talking about, for instance, hearts and pulmonary issues or whatever, having an animation that shows them that would be ideal. However, whatever you use, it should not be distracting. For instance, this ball would probably detract from anything you want your students to hear. And that's the same thing with GIFs. Some GIFs would enhance, but a lot of GIFs would actually detract from your content. So if you're going to use something that's a little bit distracting and fun, maybe using that in between as brain breaks of your content as part of intros, or when you have chapters in your video, that would be a good place to put something that's a little more distracting and fun. Okay, so that was the first part, where what goes into a video and makes it. And if I want my Bitmoji talking in my slides, is that Wii video? Give me a moment to think about that one. I'm trying to think. Animated Bitmojis. I'm not sure the answer to that. That would have to be somebody that would be a little more of a fan of how they use Bitmojis. I'd only tend to use the stagnant ones. I don't know that there are GIFs. I know on my phone you can do Bitmoji GIFs, but I'm not sure the answer to that one. Good question, though, because I think you could have a lot of fun with it. But you could turn your Bitmoji into a GIF if you could somehow slide them, but I don't think that would necessarily, I don't know, maybe I'm not answering your question right. I apologize. I bet you there's somebody over there on YouTube that can answer that question, because there are definitely some Bitmoji fans out there. Okay. I just thought of something. Chatterbox. Isn't that a thing? Chatterbox, where you actually put like a little mouth slit in there and you can make your Bitmoji talk. Maybe that's something to look into. All right, moving on to the second part is when you have videos created, you can edit them in PowerPoint. So I'm going to jump up to some of our videos that we already had embedded in here. And I'm going to start with these two right here. So I have two videos in there. Notice that I have two videos in here. You can resize your videos and put multiple videos and have kids click on a slide, which one that they want to watch for whatever supports they're learning. Keep in mind that videos use space, and the more videos you add into the PowerPoint, the bigger your PowerPoint, and not all your kids have tons of internet out there. So be conservative when you're doing this, and you may want to use multiple PowerPoints. So rather than having a 50-slide PowerPoint with a bunch of videos on it, maybe break them up into 2 to 5 slides each instead. So kids choose different PowerPoints instead. Okay, so when you click on your little guy right here, notice that it's not just a box. Notice that when I click off of it, my menu changes. When I click on it, my menu up here at the top allows me both playback options and format options. Let's go ahead and start with the format, because that's the fun part of all this. When I click on format, notice that I have a whole bunch of options across the top that I can do with this video. One of the things that I want to highlight is this information right here. You can change the shape of your video. Imagine creating a digital breakout where you want to have things hidden inside your screen that are actually a video, and that until you click on it, you don't know that it's a video. That could be kind of fun. So let me click back on here, my format. One of the things that I love doing is turning my video into like a picture or like a panel. Those are kind of neat. So this is right here. I've just turned my video into a panel, and it actually looks like a panel, and I can of course resize it however I want. You can, let me go back on my format. You can actually turn your video into a whole different shape. Some of these are probably not conducive to videos being inside them. So I'm going to click on one just for fun. That's probably not going to work out very well. However, I could see turning my video into something like this. As long as you have your content centered in the center, then that might be an interesting shape for your video. I don't know of any other software that can do that for you. It's kind of unique to PowerPoint and kind of amazing that it can do that. Okay, when I click on my playback, I have some options as well. I can trim the video. So when I click on my video right here, I can just trim the front and the back to highlight just specific parts that I want to pay attention to. In fact, when I click on Jessica's right here, I can show you that I did exactly that. So on the playback, on my trim, you can see that I cut out already where I wanted the video to start playing for you when I was presenting it. So you didn't have to watch the first minute. I just wanted to focus on what was important for this presentation. And of course, I cut out the back as well for the same reason. Okay, back on the playback, you can change the volume, not very specific, low, medium, high, or mute, but it kind of does the job. Sometimes you want your videos to play automatically. Sometimes you want them in a certain order, or sometimes you just want kids to be able to click on them and they can click on them in any order and they'll play. If you're presenting and you have like a message for kids, or maybe it's open house and you have something playing on your big screen, you can loop it so you don't have to restart your video over and over. That's kind of cool. Another thing to think about is rewinding after playing. Let's say you have a video at a station and maybe it's on your panel or your smartboard and you have kids move from that station to the next. Do they always remember to reset things? Well, if you just click rewind after playing, it'll reset itself. Kind of cool. And your captions as well, which is kind of an important part in this day and age as well. So those are some options. Okay, what is your go-to platform for editing? Well, I actually have multiple platforms. I'm actually going to show you that next in just a minute. It's a video editor. If I want to do something in 2 minutes or less and I want to edit it like that, I will use video editor. If I want to do something a little more detailed, I might go to WeVideo. If I want to do something more professional quality, then I'll go to Adobe Premiere. And it just depends on what I want. If I want it fast, then I'll choose a tool that's fast. If I want it to be professional and I feel like digging into those multiple layers of Adobe, then I'll go ahead and do that. And somebody else says, what tool is what tool is presently being used? This is just Microsoft PowerPoint. That's all it is. Just the PowerPoint on your desktop. Now, some of you may be using PowerPoint online. A lot of these tools are available online, but not all of them. The ability to record must be done on a desktop. So your ability to record in most of these video editing tools that you see that I'm sharing is not available on Microsoft Online either. You have to use your desktop version. What's cool though is whatever I do on my desktop version, if I have it saved in my OneDrive, it automatically updates my online version that I'm sharing with students. So for instance, how many of you have created something that needed an edit in middle of first period? And you're like, oh, I gotta go pull that off the internet and re-upload it. You don't have to. You can edit on your desktop. It automatically edits for what the online version the kids are using. And that's super helpful. Okay. I think I've covered everything that I need to for this one, and I'm right at the halfway point, which is exactly where I wanted to be. So I haven't delved in too many random things, which is awesome. So let me go ahead and close this out. Oh, before I do that, I need a video because I'm going to edit a video. So let me go ahead and take Miss Gates' video, and I'm going to go ahead and save this video because I've decided I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to call this Algebra 1. And save it. So now it's on my desktop so that I can pull it out later. And now I'm going to close this PowerPoint. We're not going to save because I think I totally messed it up. Okay, so as you can see in my video right here, the Algebra 1 is now sitting inside my folder system, my File Explorer. And now I'm ready to show you the second video editing tool, and that's called Video Editor. I can find it easily on the bottom left of your screen right here. If you look on the bottom left of my screen that I'm sharing, you can click in here, Video Editor. If it's something that you think you're going to use a lot of, go ahead and right click right on it and pin it. Or you can just do what I do. And sorry, I've just been talking so much now, I'm losing my voice. Okay, let's try that again. Then you just click on it and open it, and here it is. So when it opens, you'll actually see that it's part of Photos. And the video editor is just one component of Photos. When you're starting for the first time, you're just going to click on New Project, and you're going to title your project. And I'm going to be super creative right here and call it Projects. And I'm only doing that because I know I'm going to erase it later. Hopefully you can come up with way better names for your videos than that. And then I'm going to add it. And this is going to be on my PC because that's where I saved it. And let's go find it. There it is, TCA, that's us. And video editing. And there's my Algebra 1. And open. You do have the ability to add more than one file. So let me go ahead and show you that I can do that. TCA. And right here. So I have 3 videos. I don't want the folder. Unclick. I click Control, select, and I can actually bring all 3 of those videos. I can also bring in images if I want to. I just can't bring them in at the exact same time that I'm bringing videos. I can only bring one file type in at a time. So I do my MP4s first, and then I go do my images. So you can actually mix images that you may have created, maybe you created subtitles or chapter titles or whatever you want with your videos, and you can bring those in as images as well. Okay, so once I have all my media, I just simply drag it down to the storyboard. Okay, let's put the timer on. How long is it going to take me to edit this? Check it out. I want to put a title. There's no title in here. So down at the bottom, you can see that I have my menu. It is so simple that there's like nothing in here. It's just simplified. I click on my add my title. Now I can change the color. That green reminds me of a green screen. So maybe we want a different color. Let's go maybe with more of a teal instead of that bright green. And I click done. And then I can see that I have 3 seconds on there. Now, 3 seconds is probably fine for a title, but what if you're also giving your kids directions? You may want that to be on there a little longer. So it defaults through 7, but you can actually put whatever number you want in that box. So I'm going to go ahead and just say 5 seconds. Then I can add my text to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break this video of Jessica's up into chapters. Oops. Chapter 1. There we go. Chapter 1. So that's not very exciting, but I can change the background to different options. Again, because it's a simple editor, you're not going to have a lot to choose from, but hopefully you're going to find something that floats your boat. So I have chapter 1. I can change where it goes on my screen. Again, not a lot of options, but it does the job that you want since it's just a simple tool. Then I go on here, and now I want to trim my video. I can split my video. Let's say I want stuff in the middle, and I just want to split it into different chapters. Or let's say that I want to pull something out, and I just want components. Then you have your trim, which is on each end, and you have your split, which cuts your actual clip in half. So I'm going to actually go ahead and click the split, because I want to break this up by questions rather than having, like, look how long this video is. It's 11 minutes long. Rather than having 11-minute long video, I just want to focus on question 1. So I'm just scooting along to, I believe this is the end of my question 1. And that's where I'm going to split it. So I click done. Now I have 2. So I have my 4-minute video for my chapter 1. And now for question 2 is going to be like my second chapter. So I'm going to once again add a title card. And this time I'm going to write question 2 in here. Question 2. And again, I can choose what I want. There we go. That works. You can play with it when you do yours and do what you want with it. So I have my question 1. I have my question 2. And then what I can do if I also want to is I could tell my kids to pause the video and try on your goodness, your own. I need a spell checker. Okay, so you're telling your kids to pause, to try question number 2, and then check their answer to see how they did. So now you're using your tool to enhance you rather than just this 11-minute video where the kids sit there and they go cross-eyed, fall out of their chairs, and you've lost your kids. So here I'm going to trim now. So I'm just going to take question number 2, And I'm just going to include question number 2. So I think that's the end of question 2 right there. So I've showed you now how to snip and trim your videos. So I have question 1, I have question 2, and then I have my snippets on how to do it. And believe it or not, I am now ready to save if I want to. How easy is that? And if I want to save, I can click finish video. But we're not. We're going to show you some of the fun things to go with it. So did anybody actually keep time on how long it took me to actually trim that video? Okay, so now I have my, does video editor work with Movie Maker? They are both Microsoft products, but Movie Maker is a complete separate entity. Now, I don't want to say things that aren't true, but I did hear a rumor that Video Editor is supposed to replace Movie Maker, but I could be totally wrong. I am not on the inside loop of anything Microsoft, but they are 2 separate tools. So you could do Video Editor and then put it in Movie Maker or vice versa, but they are not the same tool. So they don't really collaborate like it's the same tool. They're separate. But Video Editor is much, much, much easier than Movie Maker. So this might be a great starting point before you get into Movie Maker. Okay, so the other thing you might be interested in is the background music. And they have, again, not a big, robust library, but you shouldn't get in trouble with using any of these on YouTube, and so you won't get the copyright infringing. It says sync your video. I haven't been happy with that because what it does is it trims your video to the music, and that may not be something you want. So I've never checked that. So the video defaults to be at 100%. If you want background music, I would recommend exploring where down here you want it, simply because you don't want the music to drown you out. So sometimes I only have my music at 4 or 5. It depends on what your microphone is set at as to how high your background volume is. Now, if you're doing intros, maybe somewhere between 30 and 40, and then you go quiet when you do your rest of your video, and then click done. So again, I have my background music. You can also add your own music or your own audio to it if you would like to. Then you have your trimming, you have your splitting, we have done our text and all this other stuff. But what I haven't done is the 3D effects. Let's see if my internet can support all this right now because I've got a lot going on. Look, it came up. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so you can add different effects to your video. And when you put it in, you can just have a little bit of fun. Now, I don't remember what I said about distracting things. This might qualify as distracting things, but for funsies, we're still going to throw it in. And there it is. I can resize it. So I basically created a little portal. So math, algebra 1, you're going in a portal. And I can decide how long it's going to last for. So when I push play, this is what it looks like.
Label. I'm going to call this my number 1. And this my number 2. It's labeled A and B, so that.
Okay, that definitely falls in the category of distracting, but it's fun. And in addition to that, you have some options when you click your down arrow. You can turn the volume off of it if you wanted to, or turn it down because it was kind of loud. You also have a 3D library. Again, let's see if my internet can pull it up. I am taxing my internet right now with a lot. And we get black icons. Awesome. Okay, so if I tell you that there's actually 3D models in there, will you believe me that there's 3D models in there? There's lots of models in here. And if you stay for my next section, I'm actually going to show you 3D models that are part of PowerPoint. They are the same models that are in PowerPoint. They're also in here. They're also in your Microsoft Word, but you can add 3D models for that. But you do require an internet connection. And right now it's going in it's not working. So trust me when I say there really is stuff in there. Okay, but the effects came right up. So at least there's that. Okay, so once you're happy with your distracting effects that you're adding to your video, click done. And now we really, really, really are done with our video. So now I can click my finish video. Camilla says super cool. Yes, I agree. Absolutely, I agree. So you have some options right here where you have high, medium, and low. So kind of like the sound in PowerPoint, they don't really give you a lot of specifics, just high, medium, low. So let me tell you what the difference is between these. I wouldn't necessarily recommend low unless you're showing somebody how to do something and you want to email it to them, because it's not going to show up very well on most screens, but it does the job. For instance, if a teacher asks me, how do I do this? Or how did you do this? I'll do a quick screen record and I'll save it in the low, because that way I know it will fit in the email and they don't have to click a link. But medium is probably a good place to start with your students. Oh, another thing I want to tell you about your low. If you do low, you lose all the 3D models you put in there and you lose all the 3D effects you put in there. They're just gone. So it doesn't like it. So in the medium, this is a good option for your students if you are just expecting them to watch on small screens and that's all they're going to be watching it on, then medium's fine. It also publishes faster. It uses less broadband or internet for your kids, especially if they're struggling with their internets right now. Now, if you are making something to go on a panel in a big screen or on a big TV or whatever, you're definitely going to want high. It takes a little longer to publish, but it gives you that high resolution that you want. And then when you're ready, click export. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and hit low because we don't want to watch my screen go as it saves. So I'm just going to click export in the low. So that should come up pretty quickly when I do that. And of course, we called it project, that really exciting name that I picked. And we're going to throw it in our TCA folder in video editing. And yes, let's go ahead and call it project and export it. So it should just take a moment because I picked that low resolution. But again, the image quality is not going to be great because of that. So let me take a quick peek at our. How can we access this later? Well, from what I understand, this is a YouTube Live and it will be living in YouTube. So the host can answer that better as to where it's going to live on the channels, but these are going to come up on there. If you make this in PowerPoint and save it to Google Drive, then open it in Google Slides. Will all these features work? If you're talking about the video, an MP4 is an MP4. So if you make this here, upload it into your Google Drive, throw it in a Google Slides, it will work just like any other video that you put into your like anywhere, like whether it's a YouTube video or anything, it'll work the same. Let me see what we have here. I think my idea just made someone rich who is creating talking Bitmojis. Time is money. Yes. Okay. I thought maybe it was just me not knowing the answer, but absolutely, Lucia, that's a great idea. Talking emojis. And Jesus, awesome. I'm glad that you are excited about this. Will we have access to the presentation? Again, that would be a TCCA question for you. But yes, I believe that since these are going to YouTube Live, you'll be able to access them. Okay, I think I hit the questions. I haven't been really good at keeping up with the comments, but yes, if you have questions, absolutely. Okay, this is taking too long. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I am going to minimize this real quick. And I am just going to double click on the original video, because what will happen is it will pop up in the photos. And so just by double clicking, it opens just like it would have. And let's pause her. Okay, let me see if it did it. Okay. So when you open a video on a Windows device, it gives you the option to edit. And it automatically opens this way when I save in Video Editor. So I'm just going to skip a set of steps and go straight to there. So I'm going to click on my little tool right here. And I want to show you something really nifty. I can edit this in photos if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and click edit, and I'm going to draw. And this is the part that I wanted to show you.
Hey guys, this is Mrs. Gates. I'm going to go over the
Pause. Okay, so I have drawing tools up here. Now, when you've created videos and you may have forgotten afterwards, like, oh man, I really should have told my kids to do something. You can, after you've already published a video, and that's any video that you open up on a Windows device, you can add your own writing to it. So whether it's a video you made or whether it's a video somebody else made, you can still add these drawing tools. So got my nifty little stylus right here on my touch screen, and I'm going to click the down arrow. And when I do, again, I have options to change. Let's see. I have options to change my thickness. So if you want something very detailed, or if you want to make it really thick, you can. And again, of course, my color. So I'm going to write my students a note. Be sure to use color, because I know that's a big thing with Jessica. And of course, she'd probably put a little smiley on there because she's kind of fun. And what that means is down here in the bottom of my screen, there's a little pin. So I'm going to go right here. Remember, this is the unedited one because the other one was taking too long to save. And I'm sure you enjoyed watching it publish. So now we're getting to the second question. And I'm going to advise my kids right here, grab a different color. Okay, so when I'm ready, I can go ahead and save this on my screen. So I have 2 notes that I made my kids. So I'm going to go ahead and just back up so you can see what it looks like.
Hey guys, this is Mrs. Gates. I'm going to go over the midpoint and distance formulas with you and show you how to use those for the next few days.
And the other one that I made right here, let's see if I can get my little slider over. Right here. And push play.
The video again. All right, so hopefully you had a chance to label. I'm going to call this my...
All right, so imagine when you have pictures or videos that come up and the diagrams aren't labeled correctly, or you want to add some extra features. This is your chance before you go ahead and share it with your kids to be able to add those in. And I think my other one is back up here. Nope, it's still exporting. I think it's because I'm trying to do so much. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that one. And I'm going to go ahead and close it out. And when I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and save. So I have a little save button right here. It says save another copy. It's letting my ink dry. Do you like that? And then it will save. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this one as a 2 behind it. And I just simply click save. And it will create a second copy, this time with my extra ink on it. So that might be something to think about as an extra fun tool. How fun is that? Okay, so any last minute questions? Oh, somebody said whoop, whoop. I'll take that. Whoop, whoop. Okay, any other questions before we run off?
You did get what's the difference between an MP4 and an MKV?
An MP4 and an MKV. I do not have any idea. Do you know the answer to that?
No, I edit video nonstop, and I do not know what the difference is. I could Google it. Yeah, that might you might gonna have to Google that one. That has been the best presentation I have seen all day. The most interaction.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And that was fantastic. And Brad Kaplan said hi. He walked by while you were presenting and said hi.
Oh, did he? Hi back.
If you enjoyed it, you tweet it out. Hashtag TCCA 2020. Also on the bottom, the secret super password is empower. So
that's a good one.
So you can put that in your to get your certificate when you get your email. I want to thank y'all so much. And that was, I'm not blowing smoke. That was excellent. That was really, really good. And it's so useful right now. The teachers can jump right in and use it. And if you've given, if we've gotten permission to use it, then it will be on aldeantv.com. So we'll see if y'all have to go there and check out to see if you can find it there. All right. I always have to save my MKV videos for Google folders and view them as students submitted them. I think it's the same, but I'd have to check that out. All right, guys, we're going to jump into the next session. Thank y'all so much.
All right. Thank you for joining me. I truly enjoyed having you guys part of this, and thanks for participating on the chat.
All right, I'm going to end the session. Make sure you get that empower. All right, bye.